So, what does Thinaer do?
Thinaer is a company that synthesizes at scale. You mentioned at scale earlier, but we synthesize at scale digital feedback from machines, um, digital feedback from humans. So we capture human feedback, and then we package all of that up and turn it into AI-backed insights and offer it all up as an easy-to-consume service.
Wonderful. And how do you tether the digital and physical worlds together? What's the hardware, the auto ID technology that you use?
Yeah, good question. So, if you think about it, if you were a manufacturer or in DoD or CPG or any industry where you're creating a good from raw materials, if you had unlimited funds and you were starting your company today, you would buy digitally connected, smart connected machines for your manufacturing line. You would ensure that you had devices on all of your assets so that you could track them at all times and your environments were smart. And you would be sure that your people had tools that allowed them to provide feedback that could be merged in and synthesized with all of this machine generated data. Well, what Thinair does is we make that possible for companies today with the machines you have, with the employees you have today. And we do that by using sensors from around the world. So the industry is certainly starting to understand what IoT at scale means, and there are manufacturers all over the world now creating sensors at a really affordable price point so that you can scale them from a price standpoint, but they have better battery life, they have more intelligence, and all of these things have led to our ability to kind of cross that hump that you talked about earlier, the issues people were having getting to scale. They've allowed us with our platform to help our customers do all of this at scale with machines they already own, with people they already employ. And that's important. The money you would have spent replacing machines, trying to invent tools from scratch, you can save so much money just consuming all of this as a service and just buying affordable sensors either through us or on your own that can feed our platform. So what I've kind of seen happen in the industry is everybody starting to think at scale. We happen to be one of the four out in the forefront with a platform that allows us to pick and choose the right companies that have figured out scale and bring it all together into that one solution that makes sense for the customer at the right price point.
Well, you've teased a lot of very interesting topics there. I want to get more into the hardware technology. I want to get into the cloud AI technology. I want to get into the use cases that are driving the value. And I'd love to get a kind of a measure of what you think of as scale. Let's get to the business side of it, because unless there's an ROI, then this doesn't mean anything. What's the sweet spot that you're seeing? You've been working at this for a while. Um, um, what what did you think was going to be the sweet spot, and what's it actually turned out to be? Is it one and the same? Were you able to see into the future perfectly, or were there any surprises there?
Um, we saw into the future semi perfectly. Um,
Okay.
we knew, along with everybody, that asset tracking would be kind of the sharp end of the spear for IoT. It's been around for a long time. There have been different technologies, including RFID, that just didn't scale, right? People tried so hard to make it work. Um, the cost of the readers, the fact that the big tech companies that really have driven affordability of technology into the world, like Apple, like Google, Samsung. None of those providers helped drive RFID to new levels of capabilities and to new low levels of price points. But BLE, they did. And so we were smart enough to, we are absolutely agnostic to the technologies, but we're tuned to BLE.
Hmm.
We did recognize that when you and I met 6 years ago. We had already decided that BLE was the future. That's what we would tune to. We certainly use other communication protocols, but BLE is what we're tuned to. So we saw that one. We saw asset tracking as important, and it is. It's the easiest way to help somebody understand how an IoT journey could begin, and how we could take them on to this next step of sophistication is probably the best way to say it. I would say what we learned along the way is the levels of sophistication that you can reach with all of these different sensors from around the world. And I would say the sweet spot has shifted slightly from asset tracking to the ability to have a sophisticated view of your operations. And so what we've seen become the sweet spot is the ability to do asset tracking alongside of temperature, humidity, vibration sensing. And there's lots of things you can do with vibration sensing. And then from the backside of that, pulling in human feedback as well. When I say the sweet spot has shifted, that's because if you take the data from all of those different sources, all of those different sensors, you combine it with human feedback. What we learned and what we've proven to our customers is you can build smarter models, you can teach them faster, and you can just build better business insights. If you understand that the sweet spot has shifted from only asset tracking. And so we learned that along the way. We were heavily focused on asset tracking in the beginning. I would say we lead as much today with what we call HUMS kits, health utilization and monitoring systems, as we do with asset tracking today.
So I really loved that vision that you pointed to, which is becoming a reality, which is connecting everything, people, tools,
Absolutely.
raw materials, work in progress, finished goods. It's all connected. And but with intelligence, so sensing. So that's kind of, those are the functions that I think for those of us that are passionate about it, we see, well, why wouldn't you have this tremendous advantage if you can exercise the power of the cloud on absolutely everything and
Absolutely.
have visibility and omniscience? But what are the business problems that is actually solving? What are the pain points that you look for or have discovered that technical capability enables you to solve?
Well, there are a wide range of them, and we'll be publishing a lot of material over the next couple of months on all of the use cases that we've proven out with our customers. But some of them that always bubble to the top, asset tracking is still there. So reducing shrinkage, reducing the time that it takes for employees to find the things they need, to find the raw materials, to find the tools.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a huge ROI in reducing the people costs around just those things. If in
Mm-hmm.
highly regulated industries, especially where governments are involved, you can remove a tremendous amount of costs and risk to contracts if you can produce work in progress faster than you could in the past. If you can reduce the amount of items that are simply lost within the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually helped in situations where as much as I think 45 to 60 million dollars in goods are lost every year. Now they recover 40 million of those goods through a lot of human interaction and a lot of human work to go find those things. But that costs you money as well, and you're still replacing 15 to 20 million dollars of those lost parts and raw materials, and you're paying the same suppliers in your supply chain to resupply those materials. So huge ROIs in being able, and this is what's important. Asset tracking before this point in this journey, asset tracking before now was you had to pick and choose your most expensive things, the highest value things, where now, like you mentioned earlier, we've reached a point where you can actually tag and track everything. So now we've gone from tagging a few thousand things to tagging millions of things. And the amount of rework, the amount of shrinkage, the amount of loss, the amount of supply chain reuse that you can remove from that is tremendous. We have a customer that their 32-month ROI with Thinaer exceeds $30 million.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Mr. Beacon podcast here on YouTube. You can listen to the rest of this episode on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed it, please like and share this video, and be sure to subscribe for more weekly videos. For more information about Wiliot and IoT Pixels, head on over to wiliot.com.